Vegan, 'cause we can no longer be shameless.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Our world is heading towards dangerously unsustainable systems where I think going to be in a lot of trouble soon because of our unregulated, unsustainable consumption and production habits. And I think plant-based food is a step in the direction of making more sustainable and conscious products.
Continue watching to find out more.
Esteemed viewers, ¿cómo você está? Means how are you in Portuguese. I am Liliana. The contented people of Madeira believe that we all come from the same divine source. That's right. We may be far apart in distance, but one in friendship and love. Welcome to the second episode of our show entitled Goodmylk, a return to Ahimsa with Plantrepreneur Abhay Rangan, vegan. Today we will continue with our tribute to the respectable animal rights activist and social entrepreneur Mr. Abhay Rangan of India. Abhay's story is both inspiring and admirable. Ever since adopting a vegan lifestyle at the age of 13, Abhay has lived and breathed altruism. For 4 years, from the age of 16, his spare time was spent campaigning for the rights of the animals. At 18, seeing that dairy alternatives on the market were prohibitively expensive, he recruited his mother to make affordable plant-based milk and delivered the homemade milk alternatives all over the city of Bangalore on a moped. This was the start of his company Goodmylk, which is today a major player in the dairy alternatives market in India. Abhay's social entrepreneurship has earned him the distinction of being the youngest Indian entrepreneur to make the prestigious Forbes Asia 30 Under 30 list in 2019 at the age of 22. The Forbes 30 Under 30 list was launched in 2011 by Forbes magazine to recognize the brightest young minds in the world. Remarkably, Abhay also made the Forbes India 30 Under 30 list the following year in 2020, making him one of only a handful of people to make 2 Forbes Under 30 lists. Abhay's vegan journey began at age 13, when his father showed him the truth about the violence that takes place every day in dairy operations across India. It may come as a surprise to some of our viewers that systematic abuse of cows occurs in India, despite the fact that cows are revered as sacred animals in Hinduism, the largest religion of India, embraced by 80% of the population. Sadly, while cows may have been treated well in the days of revered Hindu prophets like Lord Krishna, that is not the case today, as Abhay explained.
There's definitely documented instances of animal abuse that happen every day in our farms. In fact, I would invite anybody who thinks that there isn't animal abuse on dairy farms to just pick the nearest farm to you, go and observe their practices. You will find that they're doing at least a few things illegal, and confining animals, making sure they're pregnant, making sure they're lactating through their cycle of life. Every single of these dairy farms, when the cow stops lactating, when she's unable to lactate anymore or yield milk in the quantities that she would have done so in the past, she's all the time discarded or taken to the slaughterhouse. This is standard industry practice. Does not change because it's a small farm or a big farm. Happens everywhere. I think the enormity of abuse that goes down in slaughterhouses, dairy farms, and egg farms are really a horrifying tale in the history of humanity.
Since it is illegal to kill cows in many parts of India, the livestock operations transport them outside of the country for slaughter. India is today the fourth largest exporter of beef in the world after Brazil, Australia, and the USA. As with the rest of the world, mother cows are also subjected to unspeakable anguish on a regular basis as their babies are mercilessly taken away from them at birth. To obey such violence towards animals is, in fact, violence towards ourselves, because it runs counter to our self-nature.
I think all of us inherently do not like animals being hurt. All of us are inherently compassionate towards animals, but we're not confronted with the truth that animals are hurt every day in slaughterhouses, egg farms, dairy farms, etc. And I think this should stop because it's a blight on humanity.
Vibrant viewers, we will spend a few moments to send our well wishes to the world. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Vegan, do it for the world. Welcome back, mindful viewers. Apart from the issue of ethics, Abhay also sees environmental degradation and climate change as powerful reasons for the world to switch to a vegan lifestyle.
Our world is heading towards dangerously unsustainable systems where I think going to be in a lot of trouble soon because of our unregulated, unsustainable consumption and production habits. And I think plant-based food is a step in the direction of making more sustainable and conscious products.
Abhay's concern about the unsustainability of a meat and dairy diet is rooted in solid science. For instance, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, which represents the world's scientific community, has called for a worldwide shift towards a plant-based food system as a vital way to avert a cataclysmic 3.5 degrees Celsius or more rise in global temperature within this century. Since cattle are responsible for the bulk of greenhouse gas emissions in the livestock sector and about 250 million, roughly one-fourth of the 1 billion livestock cattle in the world, are dairy cows, the dairy industry comprises an enormous part of the human-induced greenhouse gas footprint. As we mentioned in our first episode, one of the biggest obstacles Abhay faces in trying to bring veganism to the masses is the cultural significance of dairy in India. Not only is dairy ubiquitous in Indian cuisine, but it is also widely used in religious ceremonies as a purifying agent. In addition, the Hindu holistic healing system known as Ayurveda posits that dairy foods have medicinal properties. One way Abhay tries to loosen this firm cultural grip of dairy is to raise public awareness about the negative health consequences of dairy consumption via social media and public speaking. His stance on the ill effects of dairy on health is again based on science. Particularly in the last decade, study after study has found that dairy contributes to a host of chronic diseases such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and cancer. For example, a 2020 research funded by the American National Cancer Institute, World Cancer Research Fund, and the National Institutes of Health found that women who consumed 1/4 to 1/3 cup of cow's milk per day had a 30% increased chance for breast cancer. Studies have also shown that, contrary to popular belief, dairy depletes calcium in the body. For instance, a 20-year study in Sweden involving 100,000 men and women found that milk-drinking women had higher rates of death, more heart disease, and significantly more bone and hip fractures. Additionally, a large percentage of the world's population is lactose intolerant, including an estimated 60 to 65% of the Indian population. Another way Abhay tackles India's attachment to dairy is to create dairy alternatives that are not only affordable and accessible, but also functional. By functional, he means that the dairy alternatives must taste and behave like their dairy counterparts. He spent the bulk of Goodmylk's first years experimenting and coming up with ways to achieve those objectives. Judging by the product reviews of his customers, he has largely succeeded. The following is a testimonial from Twitter.
I've been struggling to find the perfect milk alternative for my chai. Goodmylk is the only one that is as good as milk, super creamy and perfect for my tea.
Abhay is sometimes confronted by well-meaning citizens as to what would happen to the livelihood of the estimated 8.5 million dairy farmers in India if dairy were displaced. This is his response.
Our solution is to not just manufacture nutritionally equivalent products, but to manufacture nutritionally superior products by using fortification. What can you do with products like these? For one, you can manufacture them in a plant or a cooperative society of farmers. They can manufacture plant-based alternatives. And by setting up and financially empowering these hubs, we get to create entrepreneurial hubs in every single corner of the country.
In other words, farmers can slowly transition to plant-based operations. Abhay points out that this is especially true if the government would recognize the negative impact of dairy on the environment, public health, and the economy, and direct the subsidies and tax cuts currently afforded to the dairy industry towards plant-based operations. May God bless you, Abhay, for your purity of heart and high-mindedness, steadfastly considering the good of all God's creatures in everything you do. May you and all involved in your endeavor enjoy continued success, and may all your noble goals come true.
Hey everyone, my name is Abhay Rangan. I'm the CEO of Goodmylk. You're watching Supreme Master Television. Be veg, go green to save our world. Pranijana padarthavannu upayogisabedi.
For more information about Abhay Rangan or Goodmylk, please visit facebook.com/Abhay Rangan or goodmylk.in/pages/about-us. Conscientious viewers, thank you for your kind company for today's program. Please join us next week on Tuesday, September 14th for the concluding episode. Coming up next is Women Have to Be Protected and Respected, Part 6 of 8 on Between Master and Disciples. May you be blessed with good health and tranquility throughout your lives in heaven's infinite love.
Vegan side effect: getting used to sound, real sleep.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/VE.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/VE.
รายการของเรามีให้หลายภาษาโปรดดู suprememastertv.com/schedule และ suprememastertv.com/VE